It's a tale as old as time. Movie comes out, movie's successful, someone goes and makes a video game based on that movie, and that video game is an experience. Often, when a property is successful, creatives look into a way to continue its monetization into different mediums. Comics, novels, video games, movies, what have you. This has varying levels of success or catastrophic failure, from games that redefined a genre to games that destroyed video gaming as a medium for years to come. But today, we'll be talking about one very near and dear to my heart. Alien Isolation, a video game based off the classic Alien franchise, trying to pick apart how it was successful where many games like it failed. Let's get into it. So after posting a short explaining why I never watched the original Alien movie, I was nabbed by a partner to immediately rectify that situation. Honestly, I was shocked by how much I liked it. I was somehow under the impression that the movie was an exemplification of all the worst stereotypes in the horror genre, and these notions were rapidly refuted enough that it made me want more. So of course I had to revisit where my exposure to the series began. Alien Isolation, a playable addition to the series published in 2014, only a year after the notorious failure that was Alien's Colonial Marines. Let me make a stance on something clear. I have no trust for video game adaptations to movies after playing many a licensed tie-in in my youth. I had long since developed a stance that there was no way writers could honor the source material and make something both playable and fun for a property originally made as an experience purely to be spectated. Needless to say, I was a bit blown away by my experience with this game, given these truths that I was sure I would hold dear for years to come. So, with my state of mind challenged, I want to present to you all the kind of thing that this game did right, and how it made something truly enjoyable even for non-pre-existing fans of the series while still having threads to its source material. Number 1. Connections to the main characters. Alien in the movie had some amazing characters for sure, each one of them with a very tightly specific role to play in the overall story. However, expanding on these particular stories is really difficult to do across mediums, especially across in real life decades of time. With so many audiences only sticking to TV or video games, it's best not to rely on someone consuming all available content for the important parts of the story one would want to tell. If this game opened up with some bits that you had to watch the movie to understand, your only audience would be existing fans of the series, and that is a terrible net to try to throw. The game, therefore, has all new characters, but connects them to the movie. You're playing the daughter of the main character of the movie on a search to find out what happened to her mother, as well as an android and a Weyland-Yutani executive who is also very invested in finding out what happened on the Nostromo, much like the roles of the captain and science officer accompanying Ellen in the movie. The story has fun with this though, subverting expectations, making the android the decent fellow and your executive friend the more than bootlicking stranger danger. This keeps the story unpredictable, but fitting along the lines of what fans of the series would expect, while being completely open and new for people introduced to the series through the game. But what about the connections that do happen? There are several that do happen, so let's talk about those. The connections to the main movie are so smoothly integrated they're easy to miss as references if you don't recognize them. Computers are full of lore bits and bobs, and what's played as a continuation of what happened to the Nostromo is a plot point, almost a mystery for you to try to figure out if you've never seen the movie, and a dramatically ironic but still engaging piece if you have. And while you don't play through a flashback of the exact events of the movie, you play through something almost identical in Marlowe's flashback, giving you a chance to explore part of the movie as a player. While I enjoyed this opportunity, I also think it proved my points above pretty well too. It was on rails like a movie scene and is widely considered the weakest part of the game as a result. But if keeping with movie scenes are the weakest parts of the adaptation, let's talk about what the strongest part is. Number 3. The introduction of new enemies. The humans and the working Joes. And now for another zero opinion on what makes good horror. The Xenomorph is scary, oh my goodness, and what was one of the best things the original movie did with this guy to help amp up the fear? That's right, they hit him. To build tension, they didn't stick him right in your face, they let you wonder, fear, and stress about what might happen and when he'll show up. But how do you bring that tension into a video game? How do you make the player stressed while still keeping the evil behind the scenes? Easy peasy, you make more evil. Bring in the humans and the workin' Joes. The humans add an element of thought, of second guessing, of keeping the player engaged in the game more than just a normal shoot 'em up. See, you don't have to fight all the ones that pop up. If you pay attention to their dialogue, you can get a feel for who is friendly and who is not, avoiding unnecessary conflict. And I will explain why this is important later. The working Joes are terrifying, starting from their first hostile appearance, which is shown to the player beautifully without causing a jarring game over, something I agree with as a storytelling method wholeheartedly. They're stronger than the humans and a pain in the ass to fight. So even though you're outfitted with weapons, something I often feel is a weakener of the horror genre, you have to be very careful about their use, as they have limited usefulness while creating a very present conflict. Why is conflict bad? Well, you see. conflict makes noise. The xenomorph has its moments, but the biggest issue with it is it's an ever-looming threat, a reminder to why you should always try to sneak by your problems. Because when you're in the middle of a scuffle, you might be joined by a not-so-breakable friend with two mouths and a distinct interest in shooting you back to your last rush save point. This is a wonderful way to build tension and give the player a vested interest in keeping quiet, paranoid, and afraid. Is this what Ellen Ripley was specifically doing across her little death trap of a ship? No. But that's the reason her story was told via movie, and this was via game. This is a way to transcribe the tension across mediums, and never have I seen it so brilliantly done in an adaptation. Basically, this game was great. Even with all I've told you, if you're a fan of the Alien franchise, or horror, or sci-fi, or stealth, or just good games, play this. It was an anxiety-inducing delight from start to finish. What do you think? If you've seen the movie first, how does it measure up? Should I actually watch the rest of the franchise? Let me know below. And absolutely thank you all for sticking with me thus far. Please drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. It super helps me with what I do, and I will see you all under the drool vent.